to Malkia Talks. So today we are making meat pies as voted for by you. Yeah, I did a Twitter poll last week, let it run all week long, give you guys plenty of time to look through the chapters and decide what you wanted to have. The choices were obviously meat pies. There was apples with a selection of herbs and things that was detailed in the books that sounded really nice. We had Aiel goat stew, and the last option was a tipsy cake, which was only briefly mentioned in one of the chapters, but sounded delicious. I mean, tipsy cake sounds good anyway. It was really neck and neck most of the week. As we got on there, tipsy cake took an early lead. Meat pies came storming back. They were literally dead heat for the last 48 hours until the last sort of 20-30 minutes, and then meat pies took the claim there. So we're going to make meat pies. First off, we're going to do the pastry, and then I'm going to show you the meat mix and how we cook it. It's very, very simple. I have based it primarily off a Cornish pasty recipe. I did speak to my dad, and we're going to go slightly more, a bit of a modern twist. It's not going to look how you would expect a Cornish pasty to look. We're going to make it a little more rustic than that. It's not going to be a traditional one, so there's not going to be a sweet filling at the very end, because that's where it comes from. It was a full meal for miners, so they would have like a starter, mains, and a dessert in this little crusted thing. All their coal fingers could be on the crust. Throw the crust away. Don't eat coal. So a little bit of history there for you, though, if you didn't know what Cornish pasty is like. So for the pastry, we've got some butter and lard. Now, if you don't want to use lard, you can go for all butter, but they are greasy, as described in the books, so I've stuck with using a half lard, half butter mix. Got 125 grams of each. Then we've got 500 grams of just regular flour, not self-raising or anything. I have sifted that. For those of you who've been keeping track of my videos, I bought a sieve. Hey! And then we're going to use just some standard cold water after that to firm up the pastry. So, what you want to do first is you want to mix this into the pastry. This is where it gets messy, for those of you who are following along. So we're going to be putting this in. And you want to, look at that, lovely in there. Okay. You want to be rubbing this together. Okay, so I'm going to do that here. You want to be rubbing this together, not so you get big lumps, but so it's sort of like all the butter and lard mixes in with the flour, and you start to get sort of like tiny little balls appear. That's the only way I can describe it, really. But you just want to pinch between your fingers with all the flour, get in there, get nice and messy. Really mix it up. Just keep pinching the butter and lard between your fingers with the flour, and eventually you'll get a very smooth consistency, which you'll see in a second. Okay, so we have that all done. You see there, it's all sort of crumbled up into balls. Do make sure you get as much of it as possible. It will stick together, but as long as it crumbles back apart, as soon as you start to pick up the big lumps into the smaller ones, you're fine. So we want about 6 tablespoons, got my little measure, 6 tablespoons of cold water, because you're going to turn this into pastry now. So I'm going to just put in half to start with, so then I can start moulding it together. And what I'm going to do is just add 1 tablespoon at a time after that. If you don't have a tablespoon measure, that's absolutely fine. Just use a tablespoon. Simple enough. Alright, do what I'm doing, add a little less to start with, and then as you get going, you can add 1 more, and then 1 more, until you get the consistency of pastry. Very, very simple. Okay, so don't be afraid to think, oh, I'm gonna misjudge it and not put enough in. I'm gonna go 2 this time because I think I'm almost there. You can always start less and add more. This is not going to affect the pastry. It's not going to cause any problems. There we go. We're starting to get some sort of stick. I'm losing a bit. It's just going everywhere. Look, that's lovely. Right. I'm just going to work with this for a minute, and when I've got it done, I'll bring you back. Okay, so got your pastry on the go. So you're looking for, look, it's quite a smooth consistency. Okay, it doesn't stick to your hands. Obviously, I've washed my hands since. You can tell if any more sticks to it. It feels a little sticky. I imagine it will stick to surfaces quite easily. So do bear that in mind. But what we want to do now is we want to split this into 4, because this recipe is for making 4 meat pies, Cornish pasties, meat pies, you know. Now, you could be very precise. You could weigh it out if you wanted. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to be rustic because I think that's how it would work in sort of Randland, whatever we're calling it these days. Okay, and I'm just going to take 4, and I'm going to split them up. And you want to put those in the fridge to chill for 20 minutes. Okay, Alexa, set a timer for 20 minutes, please.
20 minutes, starting now.
Okay, so I'm going to put these in the fridge, and then we're going to turn the oven on. So, 1 second. All right. Now, initially, we're going to want, if you have a fan-operated oven, 220 degrees centigrade. If not, 200 degrees centigrade, or if you've got a gas oven like I do, you want gas mark 7. We're going to come back in 20 minutes. We're going to look at the mix that's going inside the meat pies, and then we're going to stuff them, wrap them, and bake them. Yum, yum, yum. So, see you in 20 minutes. Don't forget to turn your ovens on. Bye. Right, so we've had our time going on. Well, we're almost there, but I've been working on the mix in the meantime. Now, you can do this in advance. It will state in the recipe, obviously, when I put it up with the chat. But what I've got here, let me grab that. Take this spoon, actually. So in here is the mix that's going to go in the meat pies. So, obviously, we've got beef or steak. I've just used a bit of skirt, a bit of chuck steak, whatever you want to call it. Stewing steak is fine, casserole steak is fine, you know, you choose whatever you want. I wouldn't recommend premium steak unless you just happen to have it laying around. Just a standard steak is going to be fine. In here I've got really, really finely diced potatoes. I've got little bits of carrots. I've got diced onion. I've thrown in some peas. You can put in here whatever you want, but you don't really have to go crazy. Then the more you put in here, the more that you're going to have to try and stuff the Cornish pasty in. That could be a bit tough. All you want to do at this stage is season it. Okay, so you want to put a little bit of salt in there, a little bit of pepper. Again, I'm going to get out my trusty rock salt. Sea salt, where am I getting rock salt from? I have rock salt. So, I'm just going to pop a little in there. Say a little. This is really good stuff. So, I'm just going to get that mixed in. Lovely, lovely, lovely. And I'm going to throw in a little bit of pepper. You can tell I'm a chef. I've got the big tubs. Now again, just do all of this to your personal choice. And throw in whatever you think is suitable. I mean, if you don't want to make meat pies and you want to make a vegetarian pie, then you just go for a selection of root veg. Season it up, throw in fresh herbs. I'm going to throw in some basil out of my garden. I'm going to go pick that in a second and chop that up and throw that in there. You could put in all sorts of things, but yeah, I'd recommend some root veg and then something, you know, sort of flavorful like herbs and stuff like that. Obviously, when you're making the pastry, just use butter. Don't use lard, because lard is animal fat, as opposed to butter, which is made from milk. It still comes from animals, but you know, it's you don't kill the animal to get the fat, obviously. Digressing there, sorry. So yeah, so this is the mix. It's just going to go in like this. The pastry should be ready in just a moment. I think Alexa will be beeping at me shortly, and I'm going to roll those out and then we'll get them filled up. At this stage, you will also need an egg, because you will need to glaze the pastry together. Okay, so we'll get right onto that, and I'll bring you back in a second. So we've got our pastry all rolled out. I've gone for crazy rustic is what I'm after. I've never been one for getting perfect circles in pastry. This is why I'm not a pastry chef. But I went a little crazy on the rustic side of it there. So we have got nice big wild shapes going on here. So I'm just going to make one, prep them up, put them on my tray. and put them in the oven, and because there's no point making all four, you'll see what happens there. Okay, so you want to take your mix. Now, obviously, you don't want to overfill your mix. I'm going to stay on the plate because otherwise it's a bit crazy. But you want to get a channel going in the middle. You want to make sure you've got a bit of everything going on. Obviously, plenty of the meat, but you want to make sure you're covering all your veg as well. And get a nice, get some more veg in there, I think. So you've got a nice little line of veg going on there, mix going on there. Okay. And then what you want to do, I will take it off the plate actually. And this is where I found I've overstuffed it most likely. We'll see how it works. Now, we've just got some beaten eggs here, okay? So we're going to go around the edge, help it stick together, and then when they're on the tray, we're going to glaze them all completely. If you don't have a pastry brush, that's fine, don't worry, okay? All you need to be doing, grab yourself a spoon, okay? And you can just start with the back of the teaspoon, putting that on there, and you want to get the entire edge done. And you want to make sure that you've got a good coating of egg going on, because otherwise it's not going to stick together very well, and your meat pie is just going to become some sort of meat disheveled, I don't know, thing. So then what you want to be doing, okay, you want to bring it together. Now this is the fun part, or not fun part, depending on how you view it. Okay, and I'm just going to bring it together. This is a little Cornish sort of looking type thing, but I want uber rustic. Okay, I don't want manufactured. I don't want, you know, any sort of look like that. I made this at home. I most definitely made this at home in my kitchen. But I also want it to be, you know, saleable on the street, because I'm pretty sure it's Rand. Rand buys this on the street at one stage, and you know, buy that for a few crowns, Tarval and Mark, whatever it might cost. I mean, it depends what stage of the book's at. I mean, at the end, food gets pretty scarce. Spoilers, obviously. Don't think that's really a spoiler. So you know, food gets expensive. I would definitely say that meat gets quite expensive. And question what sort of meat you're getting, but look at that. So you want to turn all of your pastries into that, and then pop them on the tray. We're going to glaze these off with the remaining egg so they get a nice golden look, and then we're going to bake them in the oven 10 minutes at what you've got it currently set at, gas mark 7, 200 degrees centigrade, or if it's a fan assisted oven, 220. After 10 minutes you're going to drop it down to 160, or gas mark 4 I believe were my instructions. Yes, gas mark 4, hey, look at that. 180 if it's a fan oven. Again, this will be in the description, so don't worry too much if you're just watching. And then they're going to cook for 45 minutes at that temperature, and then after that, get the tasting in. So I will finish the rest of these and get them on the tray, and then we'll get them in the oven. So okay, here are our meat pies. Very rustic looking, I have to say, but do you know what? I like that. I really enjoyed the rustic nature. All I'm going to do now is I am going to... Ooh, that was a bit of a bang, sorry. Let me cupboard slip away there. I am going to just sprinkle a little bit of black pepper across the top. Lovely. Now. So, just sprinkled a little bit of black pepper over the top. Don't know how well you can see that, but you know, I enjoy that when I have a pie. So that's a personal touch from me. If you want to put some salt on there as well, you don't want to put any seasoning on there whatsoever, that's fine. This is all for you. But I'm going to put that in the oven now for 10 minutes. There he goes. That's going in there for 10 minutes at the 100, where am I getting 100 from? The 200 degree centigrade setting, gas mark 7 or 220 if it's fan assisted. After 10 minutes, Alexa, set a timer for 10 minutes, please.
10 minutes, starting now.
After it's had 10 minutes, I'm going to reduce the temperature down. So it's going to be 180 fan assisted, 160, just a regular setting there on your oven if you don't have a fan assisted one, or gas mark 4 if you're using gas. And then I'm going to leave them for 45 minutes after that. And then we will give them the almighty taste test and see how greasy they really are. Hopefully that lard kicks in. But I will see you back here in, sadly, just under an hour. Oh my God. Best do some dishes in that time, I suppose. See you in a bit. Bye. So, here we have our finished meat pies. I tell you, oh my God, they just look amazing. So, I did put them in the oven for a little bit longer than the 45 minutes, but a lot of liquid came out of my mix. I think probably because I had frozen peas in there. That probably added a bit more liquid than expected. But, my God, look, they're just so golden, so juicy. I mean, look at that. So, we're going to get this open. And, oh, sorry, I'm not even looking if that's on the camera properly. We're going to cut this bad boy open. And have a look and see what's going on. So, can you see that? Look at that. I mean, that just looks, that looks heavenly. Right. Time to have a bite of this, I think. Let's get going on this proper. Fresh out of the oven, so I'm not going to handle them like that. I mean, they wouldn't be fresh out the oven on the side of the road. So they probably have some kind of box or something they keep them warm in. But yeah, let's give this a go. Oh my God. So, yeah, that is just, that's really, really, that pastry is just spot on. The beef's cooked, carrot, potato, still got a little something to it. It's not mush. But yeah, this is brilliant. Like, imagine with this, with some gravy. Oh my God, like, that's it. I am absolutely, like, I'm going to make some gravy now. I mean, just one of these is probably enough with, you know, some kind of side. I mean, depending on how you're feeling, chips, mash. It's a very northern thing, right, here in the UK. Mash with your pie. I mean, this is, you know, meat pie, mash, gravy. Like, I'm definitely going to do some gravy. I'm certainly glad I've got a couple more because I'm going to enjoy this. They're cooling down there, and I'm going to pop those in the fridge. But yeah, there we go. That is your meat pies. So for today, that is my first attempt at pastry. And I have to say, I'm quite impressed with myself. So it's quite, it's a little dry, but I mean, pastry is not exactly a wet thing. So, and it crumbles in your mouth perfectly. So, very, very happy with that. Definitely need a gravy or a sauce of some kind. But yeah, that's brilliant. Right. Excuse me. So, there are the meat pies as voted for. So give them a go. Let me know how they turn out. Do recommend some gravy with them or something. You can make your family of 4, make 4 meat pies. Do some extra veg on the sides. Maybe some chips, you know, gravy, mashed potato, like whatever you want to put with them. You know, put other things in them. Just bear in mind if it's going to let out a lot of liquid, that it will make the bottom of the pie wet. It's the only thing I'd point out there. But otherwise, great. That's it for this week. Next week we will be cooking sweet buns that turn your mouth blue. That was mentioned to me on Discord last week. Matt's little prank to the Aes Sedai as they leave the Band of the Red Hand there. So I've got my blueberry jam going on for the middle of the sweet buns, and we're going to be making pastry again. So I guess I better work on making those circular bits of pastry, or perhaps I'll just get a shape cutter. Yeah, we'll probably do that. And then following on from that, I will be making a special cake. So for those of you that have seen me on Twitter, reading my Tam jokes that come out daily, you will have noticed a bit of interaction with the Black Tower podcast guys. Wonderful guys. If you haven't seen them, go look for them. They're on Podbean. You can find them on YouTube. Their podcast it's hilarious. It's a little risque sometimes, but it is absolutely hilarious. They're great guys. They're so welcoming, so friendly, and just really, really funny to listen to and watch when they do the videos as well. So yeah, definitely check those out. But anyway, I was talking to them about a meal for them. I don't know how it even popped up, to be honest, but making a Black Tower cake has come out of it. So after I've done the sweet buns, we will be making a Black Tower cake, which is not mentioned in the books. This is going to be a collaboration between myself and the Black Tower boys. They've thrown in a few suggestions, I've thrown in a few of mine, and we're going to give that a go. So those are the next couple cooking recipes that I'll be making, and who knows, maybe I'll do another Twitter poll afterwards to see what you want cooked next. But that is all from me today. So go out, give the meat pies a try. Let me know how they turn out. Please like, subscribe, comment, all those good things. I want to know what you think. Let me know of any suggestions of things I can improve. All the recipe details will be in the description below. So have yourselves a great day. It is Wednesday? So we've just had all the shed load of information and surprise cast announcements for the Corfons and so on and so forth. I mean, we now have a Senbui for those Senbui fans out there. So it's been quite an interesting day, but yeah, have yourselves a great Wednesday, and or whatever day it might be when you're watching this, and I will see you next time. So stay safe, and I'll see you soon.